My first job was at dry cleaners, and then I worked at I was detailing cars at Dick Hanna, like that's an auto place in the Northwest where I'm from, but things that are just not things that made me happy. Intro level, didn't do college, so it's like, where do you go? What do you do? Creative minds and freelancers and like entrepreneurial instincts are something that you don't really go on a path of a traditional job sense because you don't really know. You just kind of find something. You're like, I think I'm sort of qualified for this. They can train me. This is great. And I think that maybe I could build a career off of it. And then you're kind of empty inside, right? Yeah. I mean, it's true, if we're going to be honest. So this is what I did for 8 years. So I kind of dabbled in art stuff. I've always been creative. I've always been crafting. And then my mom put me through dance. I have always been self-taught because, like when you have that driving passion, you just instantly go into the whole mindset of like, I'm going to research. When you want to know something, you learn it. You find resources. And that's something that you can never forget because like the minute that you dive into it, the resources just keep pouring in. So anyway, what happened with this was I ended up starting to teach. So I did this for 8 years and I taught for 4. And that was the first time that I really started seeing light bulbs go off in people's minds when you're explaining something. And although I do teach online and I love it so much, I think that because I've been resourceful, I've learned in a non-traditional sense, right? So I just teach the way that I learn. For people who might ever have interest in sharing something or sharing an interest of your own, when you see a light bulb click, you start to yourself learn. Teaching is always learning. But when the light bulb goes off, it's just like you're sort of like working your way. It's like a puzzle, a strategy that you're trying to figure out in each individual person. And that's so cool. I can't even tell you. It's so cool. So anyway, that's the first place that I started teaching. My body got really tired. My lungs got really tired because it's a lot of smoke. I've always kind of been a non-conventional thinker, driven by rebellion and a lack of sense of authority. Not because I don't like authority, but because I feel like the way that my brain works better. Like, my way really works, guys. I wish you would just listen because I promise it works, but people don't work that way in a lot of employment situations. So then you get fired, and then you work for yourself, and then you figure it out. I don't think that you ever have to be stuck in one thing, and that's where, like, I've been always really nervous about my brand because I started with calligraphy. And so it's like, am I a calligrapher? Because I really kind of want to insert drawing. I did that. It worked. So it was kind of a test. And then I inserted watercolor. That's working. Urban sketching was my big, like, is this going to go over too well? I don't know. It's not really that crowd. What I've noticed is that when you integrate things that don't necessarily fit well, it's amazing how many doors it opens. Like, I never knew I would have an interest in this. And now this whole world has opened, and then those doors open from there and there and there. One of the questions that comes up is like, how do you know when to stop your job and when to do this full time? Do I quit and do I chance it? And is this really, really scary? Or do I stick with it for a while and watch growth? Although I'm impulsive, I'm very careful and calculated when it comes to like survival. Who isn't? And so that's why we're scared, okay? But I pulled the trigger, and within a month, my income tripled. I really want that to resonate because it's what you put your energy into comes back tenfold. It's incredible. So it was really scary. So I published a book, and then I published another book, and then another book. Like within, in their first month, they were bestsellers, and I was like, what is this? What is this that's happening? How does all of this happen? Burning question. Here's the thing, and this is the thing with fear. The only person standing in your way is you. The only thing standing in the middle of yourself and the goal, yes, you have to take staircases. It's not a jump. It's not a bridge. It's work. But all of those stairs, this is so like cheesy that I'm using this metaphor analogy thing, but is all of the stories that you're making up as to why you can't do it. Your excuses suck. They do. You think they suck, and you already know that they suck. You feel it. Okay, my excuses still suck. I have them all the time, and they're really bad. So let's get rid of them by talking about them. I don't have time. Let me tell you something about time. I don't have it. But you make it, If it's something that you want bad enough, you make it. Rejection is going to happen and rejection is why I'm successful. So you got to take baby steps, and as you learn, you might fall into some traps. The inspiration trap, so you think about it, right? You love it, you're like, oh, this is inspiring, this is making me want to do something, great. So you dig in, and while you're ruminating, and while you're sitting there, and while you're thinking about it, you lose all that creative time, and then it's time to go back to your office job that you hate, and you hate your boss, because your boss won't let you text when you go to the bathroom. Everybody sucks, and you have to learn to like to suck, because these are all things that you can learn from and grow from. If you don't suck at first, how are you ever going to be good? Like, nobody starts good. You know, the same thing is when I teach and that little thing snaps and I see it in somebody's head, I'm like, okay, they got this. That excitement, you should do that for yourself and celebrate those little victories of things when you understand them. Because it's steps, right? Like, if you start off wonderfully, you're not going to have the appreciation for your work. Nobody, no matter how similar your style is to somebody else's. And I've had people that have come to me about this, and they learn from me, which is great, and I love that, and their style does look a lot like mine. And that's fine, because you look at ours next to each other, and there is so much that she can do that I can't do, and vice versa. Nobody can be uniquely you. And whatever your style organically falls into, that's just what happens. You might want to be a lot like this. When I started calligraphy, I want to do those long, wispy, beautiful, like wedding stuff, and that's not what it turned out to be. I can do it, but it's a lot of thought goes into it because I have my natural, like what I settled into, and it's just what happens. So I pretend that I don't have imposter syndrome, but don't we all? Like, everyone at the bottom, somewhere in their brain is like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I don't know. And then you think, like, why would they choose me to do this? Like, I am not at this level, but like, there's a reason why you are who you are. So own your confidence. Confidence is the battle. How can I build confidence when I'm not good enough? It's learning, it's honing your craft, whatever it is that you're doing. But practice, they say practice makes progress. It never makes perfect, it makes progress. I feel very strongly about this, that nothing will help you build your confidence like owning your journey. I know this is cheesy and it's like a blanket statement, but I want it to resonate, because if you can think of your truth of why you want to do what you do, and fear can be there, and you can accept fear, but just don't let it drive your action. There's an art to art. What is the art in art? Anyone? Anyone? There's no prizes involved. Okay, there you go. I would drop my mic, but it's attached to me. That is all I have for you, and I hope that resonates, and I hope that it speaks to some of you.